Deep in the great green forest lived a happy little bear named Bruno.
Bruno had soft, chocolate-brown fur and a very kind smile.
While other bears liked to roar, Bruno liked to help his friends. One sunny morning, Bruno was eating sweet berries near the river.
Suddenly, he heard a very sad sound coming from the tall grass. It was Daisy, a little spotted deer with big teary eyes. "Bruno! My little brother is lost in the dark valley," Daisy cried. Bruno looked at the dark trees and felt a little bit scared. But he patted Daisy's head and said, "Don't worry, I will find him." Bruno packed a small bag of honey nuts and his favorite walking stick. He began to walk into the part of the forest where the sun doesn't shine. The bushes were thick and the branches looked like long fingers. Suddenly, a big, fluffy squirrel named Sammy hopped onto a log. "Stop! You cannot go further without a map," Sammy chattered. Bruno smiled and said, "I don't have a map, but I have a brave heart." Sammy liked Bruno's courage and gave him a bright blue feather. "Follow this feather," Sammy said. "It will glow when you are near water." Bruno thanked his friend and kept walking deeper into the woods. The air grew cold, and he heard the woo-woo of a hidden owl. He reached a bridge made of old, slippery stones. Under the bridge lived a grumpy old toad with a very deep voice. "To cross my bridge, you must tell me a story that makes me happy." Bruno sat down and told the toad about the time he shared his honey. The toad smiled a big, wide smile and moved aside for Bruno. Bruno crossed the bridge, but the ground started to shake. A pile of heavy rocks fell and blocked the path back home. "I must keep going," Bruno whispered to himself. He reached the edge of the hidden valley, filled with thick fog. He held up the blue feather, and it began to glow brightly. "The water must be close," Bruno shouted happily. He followed the light until he found a small, hidden pond. Beside the pond, he saw a tiny deer hiding behind a bush. It was Daisy's brother, and he was shivering from the cold. "It's okay, little one," Bruno said in his softest bear voice. But suddenly, a large, hungry shadow wolf stepped out of the trees. The wolf growled, showing his big white teeth. The tiny deer hid behind Bruno's fluffy legs. Bruno was small, but he stood as tall as he could. He didn't roar to be mean, he roared to protect his friend. The shadow wolf saw that Bruno wasn't afraid and backed away. "Kindness is stronger than teeth," Bruno said firmly. The wolf turned around and ran back into the shadows. Bruno gave the tiny deer some honey nuts to make him feel better. "Let's go home," Bruno said, holding the deer's small hoof. But the way back was still blocked by the heavy rocks. Bruno tried to push the rocks, but they were too big for a little bear. Just then, Sammy the squirrel and the toad arrived to help. "We saw your bravery, Bruno. We are here for you," they cried. The squirrel pulled, the toad pushed, and Bruno lifted with all his might. With a loud crash, the rocks moved, and the path was open. Bruno and the tiny deer ran back toward the sunny meadow. Daisy was waiting, and she hugged her brother tightly. "Thank you, Bruno. You are the best bear in the whole world." The sun came out, and the forest felt warm and safe again. All the animals gathered around to hear about Bruno's adventure. The elder bear patted Bruno on the shoulder with pride. Bruno realized he didn't need to be the biggest to be a hero. He sat by the river and watched the sunset with his friends. His fur was muddy and he was tired, but his heart was full. The forest whispered his name in the wind, Bruno the Brave. Every child in the forest now knew that kindness is a superpower. And so, the great green forest stayed happy and full of love. You don't have to be big to do something great. Helping a friend is the most important thing you can do. True bravery is doing what is right, even when you are scared. Never forget that a small act of kindness changes everything. Keep your heart kind and your spirit strong every day. Just like Bruno, you can be a hero to someone today. Always remember, the world is better when we help each other. Good night, little heroes, and dream of your own big adventures.